pulled the plug out, but.
Oh yeah. Can everybody hear me? I can hear you perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can hear you fine, yeah. And we're back to the same amount of people that we started with.
Hi, sweetie. Hi, sis. Okay. So, I forget what we were speaking on. I think we were just speaking on us taking responsibility for our own healing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay. It all starts with us, doesn't it? I mean, that's the not the hard part, because it is effortless when you have that kind of realization, but
yeah,
it is difficult for most to take that step. But anyway, so we're back to 10 people. We're back to the same amount of people.
Yay. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for everyone joining and listening to this. I just love
here, everybody.
Yeah, I love listening to people's stories, and Camille's got a lot of experience with trauma, and
yes, I do.
A lot of healing that you've done dare I say, all on your own, or a holistic approach.
Yeah. So I've been through a lot of trauma in my childhood, and some really terrible experiences. Not knowing that I was living with CPTSD and operating and in survival mode, I had no idea until I was diagnosed after I had left my ex-husband, who was very abusive, with PTSD and CPTSD. So she diagnosed me like 5 minutes after sitting on her couch, and she recommended 3 different medications that were like straight up like street drugs, like Valium, fentanyl. I was like, no, hard pass, thanks. And she's like, well, you need some sort of something to help regulate you. And I was like, well, I'm good. I don't want a Band-Aid. I want to actually heal myself. And she looked at me sideways, and she's like, okay, good luck with that. And I'm like, okay, I don't need luck. I have intelligence, and I will go do my own research. And, that was the last time I saw her. And that's when I started my holistic healing journey. And I changed my life radically. I did everything I possibly could to just radically change my life for the positive. For my son and I both. So that meant, anyone that was toxic in my life, bye. I have strong opinions about church, but I wanted to be surrounded by positivity. And so there was this local church in the town that I used to live in. And I was like, fuck it, let's just go. And so I went because I wanted to make new friends. I wanted to just immerse myself in any sort of healing I possibly could. And then I joined a book club there. And then one of the ladies that was in my book club gave me a book called Boundaries. And I was like, what's this? So I read it, and that shit was life-changing. That opened my eyes to the world of boundaries, how to set them, what they look like, how to apply them. And that changed my whole life. And so that's been a long road because I'm a recovering people pleaser. That was my trauma response, where I was in fawn mode a lot, being in survival. So, instead of always, speaking up, I would just, go with the flow, and, it's whatever. You can be passive aggressive towards me and disrespectful. It's fine. I won't say anything. But now, no, I'm not like that. Anyone that knows me now knows I set my boundaries. And I don't feel bad about it either, because that's just like you Cecilia and I were talking the other day that that's the best form of self-love.
Yeah.
Boundaries, setting boundaries, because you are honoring yourself. You know, when other people are dishonoring you, you're like, no, and you're taking your power back. It's very, very empowering. But I feel like it's like a muscle. The more you utilize it, the better you'll get at it, because you're also recalibrating your brain. Because trauma, especially when you're diagnosed with PTSD or CPTSD, that's brain damage. It's also nerve damage as well. So you're having to like recalibrate your entire physiology. Yeah, so I've utilized a lot.
Yeah.
So,
So what,
yeah.
going back, was it your son, or like what made you have that kind of decision of, I'm going to do this holistically? Because it's so easy to just take the drugs or whatever, you know, because that's what most people do. That's what we've got told.
Exactly. Because I knew better, and when you know better, you do better. And well, not always, but in my case, I did not want to subscribe to that. I didn't want to subscribe to the drugs. I knew they were drugs. I knew a lot about Big Pharma. I had been awakened to that, gosh, probably when I was like 19 or 20. I really woke up to the corruptness of the world. And so I was like, no, you're not going to get me addicted to your little Big Pharma drugs, hard pass. I knew that for every ailment, there is a medicine, a natural medicine out there. I knew that. I didn't grow up in a family where that is talked about, or I'm very much the black sheep in my family. So, and so I was very alone on that path. A lot of my friends also at that time, didn't really go down the holistic health path either. So I did a lot of reading, a lot of research, a lot of just figuring it out, praying and hoping that someone would come across my path to guide me in a way that I knew. So that's when actually on social media I started following holistic health professionals and started learning from there, started learning about herbs and supplements and yoga and affirmations, positive affirmations. Oh my gosh, positive affirmations changed my life radically. Like, I still say positive affirmations daily, either in my head or out loud. They're so impactful. Everything is vibration. Everything is a frequency. And so, I was doing everything I possibly can to recalibrate my nervous system and to reassure myself that I'm safe. Because when you go through trauma, you feel so unsafe, and then you're trying to navigate through life, and your nervous system is so rattled, and it's hard for you to navigate through that, to process things, the way that a normal person that's never been through trauma would be able to navigate through. So that's, and I still utilize these things. I still do yoga. Kundalini yoga specifically radically changed my life. Fucking love Kundalini yoga. I love yoga in general. It's a wonderful tool if anyone utilizes it. Meditation as well, but Kundalini yoga specifically is a meditative yoga where it focuses a lot on breath work, mudras, chanting, more so the breath work. It taught me breath of fire, and I was like, woo!
I love that.
I like this.
That one. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's awesome. So.
Yeah. So with PTSD and what did you say? What was the other one?
CPTSD.
Yeah.
So that's complex.
What's the differences?
Disorder. The difference is where you have gone through trauma over a long period of time. So if you grew up with a narcissist in the home, if you grew up getting constantly emotionally abused, mentally abused, physically abused, sexually abused, any sort of abuse for a long period of time, that will contribute to you having CPTSD, where a lot of people are walking around with it and have no idea that they even have it, because that's become their norm, because you grow up in that. And so you're like, well, this is what I know. I'm used to being emotionally abused. I'm used to being gaslit. This is normal. So, yeah, it wasn't until I actually fell into social work back in 2018, and I worked for the largest domestic violence agency in Kansas City, and I learned a shit ton about psychology, trauma, attachment styles, different healing modalities. Just, gosh, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I don't even have a degree in that, so, but I felt like I do now coming out of it. So, but yeah, and I learned the statistics of how common this is. So common.
Because I always thought, like, PTSD, I always associated that with someone who's been to war, but it's not.
Yes.
It goes back to childhood
it's basically just any very, very traumatic experience. So, so I had CPTSD just from some of my upbringing, and some things that happened to me when I was a child, and a teenager as well. And then, with PTSD, you don't even realize it's abuse, Tori says, about emotional abuse, because you grew up in it. You don't know any different. Gosh, I forgot my train of thought.
So I was saying, I feel like, because this is going to go on YouTube, and there's going to be people that don't know the difference between the two. And I used to just associate, PTSD, that's just a thing if you've been to war. I don't have that, because I've never been to war. Yes, I served in the military, but I was never in like a conflict. And it's kind of like, I don't know, it's easy to get in that victim kind of mentality of, was that on purpose? But it's nice that it's getting talked about more, and generally, like, anyone can have PTSD. It doesn't.
Absolutely.
It's not just tailored for
It's a earth-shattering traumatic experience that you've been through. So when I was diagnosed with PTSD after I left my ex-husband, it's because he tried killing me 3 different occasions throughout the course of our marriage. So
wow.
I was absolutely terrified of men. I couldn't even make eye contact with men for a while, except for my dad. He was the only man I trusted, and I was rattled. I was just a nervous wreck. I was scared to go to the grocery store. I was scared to, like, any man that, like, came within, like, close proximity of me. It just completely distorted the way that I viewed men, because this man that I took vows to and I loved and I created a baby with was trying to take my life. It was the scariest moment of my life. And when I was actually diagnosed with PTSD, I didn't even really believe it at first. I was like, because I thought the same thing you did. I was like, I've never been to war. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
But I feel like to a certain extent, and I feel like this needs to be talked about a lot more too, is that you don't just need to be in active duty, to experience. There's tons of people that are walking around with PTSD, undiagnosed, in survival mode, not realizing it, and it's because they've been through earth-shattering, traumatic experiences in their life, and that just completely does a number on your nervous system, does damage to your brain.
Yeah. How did you get out of that scenario then? Did
Oh man, that was scary. So the third attempt, that one I honestly thought I was gonna die. I really did, because he was strangling me, and he was on top of me. Trigger warning to everybody. I'm so sorry if this is like really graphic, but so yeah, my ex stepson actually saved my life. I truly believe that, because he was screaming at the top of his lungs, "Daddy, get off of her! Daddy, get off of her! Daddy, please, please!" And he was begging and he was crying. And we lived in an apartment, so the police ended up getting called. I was terrified. I just remember he was on top of me. He grew up wrestling. So, and biologically, statistically, it's a fact that men are stronger than women. So he was, he had his feet on my feet, and one hand on my head, and then another one on my throat, and then he had his arms on my arms. So I was completely like, I could not do anything. I couldn't kick him. I couldn't move. I was just looking like sideways, feeling the earring of my, just stabbing me in the back, and I was staring at the my dining room table legs, and I was like, this is it. This is how I'm going to die. My husband's going to take my life. And I remember trying to talk to him, too, with my eyes, because I couldn't move. And just trying to look at him like, are you really going to kill your wife? Like, is this what you're going to do? And he was on a substance. I don't know what. He was obviously on an upper, because his pupils were saucers. My ex-husband had really, really blue eyes. He had like husky blue eyes. And I couldn't see a lick of blue in them. And so I'm not sure what he was on that night. But by the grace of God and my ex-stepson, he flew off of me and barricaded my son, who was an infant at this time. He was about 3 months. And my ex-stepson, he was 5 at this time, barricaded the boys in the room, and I took off running, because I was obviously terrified. One of my other trauma responses, aside from fawn and being a people pleaser, is running. Like, I'm just like deuces. And so I took off running. I had no shoes on. It was probably 10 o'clock at night. I didn't have my keys. I didn't have cell phone. I had nothing. I literally just ran. And the police officer came and found me. I was terrified. Any car that drove past me, I was like hiding behind bushes. I thought it was him. I thought he was like going to come back and try to kill me and be successful. Yeah. And so the police officer came and found me. He knew what happened. He saw my throat. He saw the redness, the scratches. He saw obviously how terrified I was. He probably also saw that my ex-husband was on a substance of some sort. And I remember the police officer asking me and talking with his eyes, and he was like, if there's something you would like to tell me, like he basically wanted me to press charges against my ex-husband. Yeah. And I was terrified, because my ex-husband would hang that over my head a lot and say, if you ever tell anybody what I do, or if you ever tell, a soul, I'll have your kid taken away from you, and I'll blame all my drugs on you. And he used to threaten that with me a lot. And so that's why I didn't really tell, like, my sisters. I didn't tell my family. I kept what I was going through a secret for a long time, until I couldn't anymore. Yeah. And then I called my dad. I think maybe the next day, I can't remember. Everything's kind of a blur. It was not long after that, and told him everything, and I was just bawling. And my dad's like, "We're gonna get you out of there. We're gonna get you out of there." And I was like, "Okay." And so I told him I was gonna go return a red box, and that was the last time I was at my apartment.
What's a red box?
Oh, it's a red box DVD. We would rent DVDs.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna go return this DVD, and I'll be back. And he's like, okay. And that was the last time I was there. And I went straight to my parents' house, and I'm so grateful for my family because they came back and packed up my entire apartment while I flew to Colorado because I had put an ex parte on my ex-husband. An ex parte is something that you file before it becomes a restraining order. For it to become a restraining order, the judge has to rule that in your favor. So you have to have proof and all that. So anyways, why I flew to Denver, Colorado, where my cousins live, is because legally we're still married. So he still could easily take our child, and go across state lines. Who knows? He could do whatever. I did not trust this man at all. Nothing about him. I was like, stay away from me, stay away from my baby, bye. And so my dad and we got the law on our side, and we did everything accordingly. And then, got a lawyer, got one of the best lawyers in our county. I never prayed so hard in my life than when I was going through that divorce. It was agonizing. It took 10 months.
Wow.
It was, oh my gosh, it was a lot. Anyone that's gone through divorce, bless your heart. It's a battle, especially when you have children involved. But I got through it. I talked to my grandfather a lot, actually. My grandfather had passed the year prior, and I would just pray to Grandpa all the time, and just tell him to give me strength and to just be in that courtroom with me, and give me grace when I'm on that stand, and just have it rule in our favor. All I wanted was safety for my son and I. That's all I wanted. I didn't care about his money. I don't care. I was like, and I settled in court with child support because I was like, I don't care. Just go heal yourself, and I'm gonna go raise this child, and you go, do whatever you need to do to heal whatever demons you're dealing with. Sober up, do whatever. But our son doesn't need to be in that environment at all. So, so that's how I got out of there. Was I have amazing mom and dad to have put a roof over our head, and because if we didn't move back in with mom and dad after I had left my ex-husband, we would have been in a domestic violence shelter for sure.
Yeah.
We had really nowhere to go. So unless one of my sisters took us in, but a lot of people didn't really know what I was going through, except for my parents. Oh, did it lock up there?
Just frozen a bit. I think you're back.
Yeah.
So what was... Sorry, continue. Oh, thank you, love. Just got a cup of tea there.
Are you guys matching with your flannel? I can't.
No, we're not matching with our flannel.
I love it. Great minds think alike, though.
Sorry?
You're like-minded.
Is now a good time to ask a question?
Yeah, I've got my headphones in, so she won't be able to hear.
Yeah, okay. She can't hear me.
She can hear you now.
Okay. I have a question.
Take it over my podcast.
I've been through, similar but different abuse in childhood where I was threatened,
Yeah.
like, don't you dare tell anyone or else,
Yeah.
bad stuff's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I am still healing from that. I'm still healing about being able to, like, speak, and show up fully.
Yep.
And I was just wondering if there's anything that you've done that has helped you with that aspect of it, besides just speaking your story. What you're doing right now is very, very inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And,
you inspire me too,
I'm gonna
sis.
head
You
out
do.
and
You
go
inspire
listen.
me too.
Well, I'm watching my kids, so I'll go listen to
Okay.
you.
Gonna multitask. Okay, love you, sis. So yeah, to answer her question, I think it goes back to boundaries. Setting boundaries. The more I do it, speaking my truth, knowing that what happened to me was very real, realizing that, and then also the affirmation. I would write affirmations, speak affirmations. That radically, recalibrated my brain. Because when you go through that, and when you're, abused like that, it distorts your self-worth on such a grand level that you feel so small. You're like, well, why does my story matter? And no one's gonna listen to me, and you feel small because that's their whole point. They want you to feel small. And so by speaking your truth and also recalibrating your own physiology by affirmation, healing your body through yoga, regulating your nervous system, that is huge. That's like the biggest flex in life, is like a regulated nervous system, for real.
Yes.
It's not your car, it's not what you wear, it's not how much money you have in the bank. It's a regulated nervous system.
Yeah.
That's on the real.
Something that actually helped me was I used to think like, oh, but there's so many people out there that have it so much worse than me, and I've just come to realize that experience is subjective. So what I find really difficult might be incredibly easy for someone else, and vice versa. So it's just important to recognize that, take ownership of your experience, and your truth more than anyone.
Yeah. Yep, because you lived it. You lived it.
Exactly.
You know it. And also another thing to think about too is you have no idea who you are going to inspire. I had no idea that my story was going to inspire even one person. Even me telling my story to, fellow friends of mine were like, you're such an inspiration. I'm like, I am? And they're like, yeah, oh my God, what you've been through. And I'm like, thank you. And it's such a humbling experience, but it also makes you realize it makes you feel not only not alone, but who else could I inspire by, my truth? And also, who else has been through a similar experience?
Well,
tribes attract your tribe.
You've definitely inspired everyone watching, because we're getting lots of love hearts.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you so much, guys.
So,
I haven't been reading.
Yeah, it's coming up on the bottom, but there's a lot of messages to read through. We'll go through that at the end. So, not moving on, but what was kind of the first kind of holistic approaches that you initially started with? Was it one specific one, or was it trial and error, or what?
So in the first year that I left, let's see, I signed up for a gym membership, which I'm not really the biggest gym rat or anything, but I knew that was, I knew that moving your body and movement is medicine. So that was key. That helped me tremendously. I took a lot of my anger out on those weights. So I was like, yeah, I like this gym. So that, affirmations, also supplements. I came across a a woman that I followed who went through similar trauma, and she gave a tip on some supplements like 5-HTP, like 5-HTP, which is actually a neurotransmitter, like stimulator, I guess. It like helps calm you on a neurological level, because PTSD is brain damage. It truly is. It like completely rattles your brain, and then your nervous system, because everything's connected, right? And then St. John's wort and holy basil, which are just stress relievers, and they help stabilize your nervous system. So, and I'll still take those, because I've been through a lot of trauma, and so it doesn't just, overnight you're just like, oh yeah, I took a supplement one time and now I'm cured. Like that's not real life.
Yeah.
Also, yoga and gratitude journal. I started keeping a gratitude journal. I have my son keep a gratitude journal. Actually, he's been keeping one since he was like 7, and he'll be 11 in April. And so
great.
I've been teaching him manifestation too, because he'll write in his gratitude journal what he's grateful for. He'll write an affirmation, and then he'll manifest whatever he desires. So also essential oils really helped a lot. I probably smelled like a lavender plant the first couple years after my divorce. I was just like dousing that shit on me. I was like, this smells so great. And anything lavender I'm obsessed with. And also binaural beats. I came across binaural beats in 2017, and wow, radical change. I started falling asleep to them. I noticed such an improvement on my sleep, on my mood, on my me being able to remain calm in stressful times. It completely was recalibrating my neurology while I was sleeping. I'll also listen to them more so. I listen to sound baths more often now. But binaural beats are life-changing. If people don't listen to frequencies, you definitely should. I highly recommend them. On a molecular level, we're 99% water. So to say that sound doesn't affect us is, silly. So it very much does. And there's so much evidence to prove that. But yeah, so also plant medicine. Sorry, I have my selenite. I love my crystals. But
that's the one Daniel gave me.
Right? That's another healing modality that I utilize as well. I'm like a crystal hoarder. I have so many crystals. Plant medicine was another one as well. I soothed myself a lot with cannabis for a while. Not so much anymore. Until I was introduced to mushrooms in 2020, and that just changed my whole life. 2020 was radical for me. That's when I came across Kundalini. Yeah, I feel like in general, as a collective, we went through a huge shift. But for me personally, I lost my job during the scamdemic at the domestic violence agency I was working at. So I had a lot of time on my hands. So I was advancing in yoga, and so I wanted to find something that was a little more challenging, and that's when I came across Kundalini yoga. And then shortly after that, I had a friend introduce me to psilocybin, and I was like, okay. And so I went down that journey, and I am a huge advocate for plant medicine and mushrooms in particular, and how medicinal they are. They've helped me tremendously. So,
Good.
yeah.
Yeah, and guys watching, we're not saying go out and do these things. These are just our own
No.
personal experiences. I'm just
Yeah.
putting that
This is
in
what
there
has
because,
worked for me.
you know.
Everybody do your own. You do you, boo.
Yeah.
So this is just what has worked for me.
For me, talking a bit about my trauma, and I don't know whether this will resonate with actually Daniel, but when I was in the military, if we had depression or whatever, we said, I'm feeling a bit depressed today, we would just get told to exercise, just you need to do more exercise. And I was really fit, not as fit as I am now, but I was like, sorry, other way around. I was fitter back then, and I kind of used it as an escape. And I feel like you need to have a balance with all of these things. And for me,
1000%.
Just mindfulness and that, just like we were talking about at the beginning, just really taking responsibility for your own well-being. And I remember when I first started getting into meditation, I really struggled. And there's still days now that I struggle. I really struggle to just sit down for even 10 minutes and just sit with my thoughts.
It's a practice. It's not something you're just going to get like right off the bat either. I was the same way with meditation. I wasn't just like, oh, I'm a guru now. Yeah, it's definitely a practice. And I think listening to your body and getting back in touch with source, where we all, where it all started is crucial. Because, some of the healing modalities that I used more so, it would depend on what was happening in my life, like what kind of job I had. Like when I was in social work, I took home a lot of secondhand trauma. So I was doing a lot more healing modalities, and, rolling up a joint and smoking cannabis after work because I had to. I was like, oh my God, what was disclosed to me because my clients were children. And so their stories were just heartbreaking. And so, but now I don't. I don't really partake in cannabis recreational anymore, because I just don't feel I need to. Like, I just listen to my body. I feel really clean. I detox often, and I just take my supplements. I do my yoga. I do my affirmations, and I'm always going to be wearing my essential oils. I always have my crystals on me. I've learned over the years of balance and how to balance
is
that.
key.
Absolutely, and what works for me. And this is what worked for me. This is what I found worked for me, and it changed my life dramatically, radically. So yeah.
Have you ever?
And it's a journey.
Have you done
not a race.
Cambo? Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Have you ever done Cambo?
No.
Just with
No.
Daniel being in the chat, little synchronicity there. It's that is it called the monkey frog or something? It's the toxins from the monkey frog. It's like this ancient practice where it detoxifies the body.
Oh, no, I haven't.
It sounds pretty wild, doesn't it?
I'm very open-minded to any different healing modality.
It's not
a lot of people have also. Yeah, a lot of people have also had experience with like ayahuasca. I've never tried ayahuasca before. And just everyone's journey is different. Listen to your body, listen to yourself, and that's what one of the many reasons I did not want to go down the Western medicine path was I didn't want it to Band-Aid me and take away the essence of who I am.
Yeah.
I had known people that were on those medications, and this is not me judging anybody that goes down that path. If that's what you feel is right for you, then listen to yourself. If that's what you need, but I felt different, and I didn't want it to change my personality. I wanted to still be true to myself and be me and not be robotic and in life and just be like, okay, I'm just gonna, do what they say and go this way and go that way. And so I've seen the repercussions of people being on them, and then also the withdrawals of people getting off of them because they're highly addictive. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I say just weigh the pros and cons, people. Everything's a yin yang in life. Everything is balanced, So, especially when you're navigating through trauma, it's not easy. But know that you're never alone. You're never alone. And I feel like the more that I speak up and I speak my truth, which actually inspired me to my first tattoo, which you guys probably can't see, but it says "Speak Your Truth," and there's like a symbol. But cause that's so crucial to speak your truth, and don't be scared. Don't be scared, because there's always people that can relate, and be inspired by your story. So
yeah, and I want to just quickly touch on intuition, because it sounds like all of this kind of seeking and healing is being based off your own intuition, right?
Yeah, absolutely, 1,000%, 1,000%. I feel when we honor our intuition, it will never steer you in the wrong way, because that's source. Now, it's hard for a lot of people to distinguish that, because when you go through trauma, you don't know whether it's like your head telling you things or like your fear telling you things, and you're like, is this fear-based? Or and so that's where mindfulness and mindful practices are very beneficial. So, but I learned the hard way that when you don't listen to your gut and you dishonor your intuition, you will unfortunately learn the hard way, and you'll have to, it'll take you down that learning path and that learning curve. And I've noticed that the more that I do listen to and honor my intuition, even when it doesn't make sense, even when I'm like, why do I feel like this? Like, there's no like logical reason. It's like, why do I feel like this? Then eventually it does. Like, spirit will show me why I listened. Okay, all righty. So that's why I was feeling that way about that person or that place or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So.
The universe doesn't give you what you want; it gives you what you need, doesn't it? And
1,000%. We're not
I can't
really
remember.
in control.
No.
We're not really in control. A lot of us think, like, our ego mind wants to think that. We're like 1,000%. No, you're not. No, think again. So, life will very much humble you.
Yes. And I just wanted to just mention about intuition there, just because, I've seen it and followed it, and it's worked, and there's times where I haven't and it hasn't. And I can't remember who I said it to, but I was like, follow your intuition, it'll never let you down. And someone said, oh, that's a load of shit. Like, I split up with my girlfriend. And I was like, well, probably happened for a reason.
It's a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, see where you're at in a couple of years' time.
Yeah.
Or a couple of months'
time. You have no idea who's about to walk into your path. Like, that's the thing, is like, we have yet to meet everybody that we're going to meet on our path. We have yet to meet everyone that we're going to fall in love with, for all the single ones out there. Like,
I see Daniel raising his hand.
But like, or we have yet to meet everyone that is going to change our life for the better. So, it's having an optimistic outlook is so paramount, and changing your perspective on that. And everything is perspective, just like you and Cecilia say, everything is paradoxical. So
there's paradoxes in everything. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah. So what is so you said your daily practices, you do daily affirmations. Is there anything else that you make sure you do it like daily, or do you just kind of go with whatever you?
I also sun gaze, and I do grounding. I ground every day. I did this morning, and the ground was real cold.
Yeah.
Probably not as cold as other parts of Colorado, because we're more on the warmer side. I'm on the western slope. Denver got pounded with snow, and we'll get like a dusting, and I'm still over here like whining about it. But yeah, so I will always ground. I try to sun gaze, and that's, I feel, very important to get your vitamin D, to help activate your third eye. I will also do breath work while I'm sun gazing as well. And I also drink cacao every morning. I try to do at least 2 cups a day. I love cacao so much. I'm such an advocate for that. It's like the best shit ever. And actually, did you know that it regenerates your DNA? I didn't know that. If you drink about 2, they did a study that if you drink about 2 cups every day for like 2 or 3 months, it'll completely regenerate your DNA, which our DNA is constantly, our cells are constantly turning over. And that's what people don't realize. And it's like, we have the ability to heal ourselves. We have that power, you know? And so just working with our physiology, I feel, is important. But, yeah, and I'll put like ashwagandha powder and my lion's mane powder in my cacao and my honey and stuff like that. So I always try to keep my vibe very high.
Yeah.
I try not to be on my phone the first hour after I wake up, because you're so sensitive after you wake up. And like, think about like just everything that's coming at you, all that energy from like social media, because social media is a portal. It really is. That's why I'm really, really mindful with like who I follow, who I don't follow, who follows me, because I feel that. I feel energy. I feel we all do.
Yes.
But anyways, yeah, that's what I do on a daily basis. I ground, I have my cacao, I sun gaze, I do affirmations.
I've got a good one for you.
If I can fit it in, I will do yoga. Sometimes I can't always fit it in, but I try to.
I've got a good one for you.
Yeah.
Cold plunges.
Oh my God. Okay. Is Tom still on here? Because Tom told me, he's like, don't do it, squirrel. He calls me squirrel. He's my fox. And no, I know, I'm scared. Hard pass. He said that he did it, and he was like, I literally shivered for like days, and I was like, I don't know if that's normal. Is that normal? And
I've never had that experience, but
it increases. See, and I've had a lot of like conversations about this, because one of my best friends, Katie, she told me, she's like, girl, she's like, I feel amazing after. She doesn't cold plunge, but she'll sometimes, like, you know, in natural water when it's kind of chillier, she will like get in the lake or swim or something like that, and she's like, I feel amazing after. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And I don't know. Maybe I just need to conquer my fear with that. But I've heard there's a lot of benefits with it. I'm also really scared because I know that it like you expel a lot of your adrenal. Like your adrenal glands are just like, and I'm like, I feel like that's a different form of like ecstasy or something. I don't know.
The biggest benefit for me is it's kind of like an ego killer. So you really you never want to go in the water. You know it's going to be fucking cold. You know I mean, not you, but for us guys, you know your balls are going to shrivel up into your ass. But when you get in and you tell your ego no, you are in a state of presence, and that's the most benefit that I can think of for cold plunging. It's just the presence that comes with it, as well as being out in nature and all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of these days, I don't want to be alone. I want to be with like some friends or something. But maybe, I don't know if I can do like ice. Like I see you guys like in ice, like actual ice. I'm like, okay, want to ease my ass into it. Like, I'll do cold, and then, you know, we'll do increments, and then we can get into ice. But I don't know about just
cold
like going
showers
full on ice
as well.
Like, I don't know. I'm a munchkin. I'm a tiny woman. I'm scared. Like, I don't know. I just don't want to freeze to death. Hypothermia scares me. But I know that there's so many, you know, evidence of the benefits of this, and I know so many people, a lot of my friends actually, you included, and Daniel and stuff, that love it and feel amazing after, and I'm like...
Well, I made a story post. I said, you know, when you get into cold plunging, the hardest part about cold plunges is actually not telling everyone that you've cold plunged.
Oh,
That's
really?
the hardest part.
Why? Why?
Because you just want to tell the world that you've cold plunged because your ego thinks it's difficult. It's like it's a joke.
True. Yeah. True that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yes, Alex. Cold shower. See, and I've done cold showers.
Cold showers, yeah.
Not willingly. Just when like the heat was out in my apartment, I had like no choice. But I do remember feeling a little better after that. I was freezing my ass off, but
yeah. Well, like you were saying, these are all tools that we can use, and everyone's different. Everyone prefers a certain thing, and yeah, it's just nice to share all of these tools with everyone. I'm sure everyone's picked up something that they can use, hopefully.
Oh, another thing that I changed about my life was my diet, the way I ate, what I ate. Became very, very intentional with what I ate. And I know that there's a lot of debates out there, like, be carnivoric, be a vegan, be a whatever. In my opinion, I think everybody should know their blood type, and I think you should go depending on what your blood type is. My blood type, and I feel like I knew this at a very early age. When I was a little girl, I was very adamant to eating meat. I used to push it away a lot when I was little. For a couple of reasons, I think just naturally, I think intuitively as a little girl, like, children know, like, they know what's right for them. They, you know, they may not be able to articulate why they feel this way, but they do. And another reason was because I could feel, I know I'll probably sound a little woo-woo, but I could feel the torture of that animal and what it went through. And I would get, like, visions and downloads, and it scared me. And I was like, I can't eat this. And so then later, one of my best friends and I were talking about blood types and diets. And she has a different blood type than I do. So that's why she can eat certain things, and I cannot. With my blood type, I have to be more plant-based. And I noticed, because I listen to my body, I noticed that I do so much better when I'm plant-based. I notice when I eat meat, I don't feel good. My skin will show me. My skin will break out. Sometimes I've broken out in rashes. I'll get bloated. I'll get constipated. I'll get brain fog. Like, your body, your physiology will tell you what you should be eating and what you shouldn't be eating. You'll feel the effects. Like, it's very natural. If you eat something and you're like, damn, I got so much energy, like, I could take on the world, and then, you know, you eat other things where you feel like shit. Listen to your body. Your body is so brilliant. You know, don't discredit it. So that, I would say, research your blood type, people, and go off of that. That's all I'm going to say.
It only makes sense because, like, I've heard stories of where people have cut out meat completely and then they've felt really ill, or some people on the flip side have felt actually really, really good. So it only makes sense. And
Yeah.
did you want to talk about water as well?
Water.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Everybody stay hydrated now. Um, water. Gosh, I have been drinking my Kangen for about a year now, or almost a year. Yes, I invested last November. Didn't get it installed until around December, so it has done profound things for me and my family as well. I feel like it just has like cleansed me from the inside out. It's I've seen a radical change in my hair, in my skin, um, in my energetic level, in my cognitive thinking, my clarity, my motivation. I've seen just radical changes. Even with my mom. My mom is she's sick and she has some health conditions. One of them was when I first purchased the Kangen, she was having kidney issues. And after she was on drinking the water for probably about 3 to 4 months, she went back to the doctor and her kidneys were back to doing what they should be doing and operating the way that they should be operating. And I'm like, that's amazing.
Wow.
And yeah, she has pulmonary fibrosis, which is a lung disease. So mom's been on oxygen for over 2 years. So that's another huge reason why I invested in the water was if I could do anything to try to reverse her symptoms or help prolong her life or anything, and the same for my family as well, my dad and me and my son. I've been trying to find what can kind of minimize my son's keratosis pilaris. I know a lot of that has to do with diet as well and finding what works and what doesn't. And he has a different blood type than I do, so he's more carnivoric. So I implement, obviously, more meat in his diet, grass-fed, and I'm very intentional with, I don't do commercial meat and all that. So,
Yeah.
but anyways, yes, the
Likewise,
water
yeah.
is magical, to say the least.
Yeah,
So,
it's definitely something me and Cecilia want to invest in, and I'm just hoping that it'll help grow my hair back. So,
do you have alopecia, or do you have you never had hair, or do you just happen to lose it over time? Or I read something about that has to do with thyroid. Have you ever had your thyroid checked, or is it just hereditary?
I've never had my thyroid checked. Yeah, it's hereditary. I mean, okay. I was bald by early 20s, but my mom's got very fine hair. Every male in the family is bald. So, yeah. They
say that your hair comes from your mom's side usually.
Yeah.
Like when you're a male.
I've heard that.
Yeah, I've read about that, and I don't know. My son has my hair, so I'm like, he's got
should be good then.
So yeah, and I have, but I have my dad's hair. So and Dad has my grandfather's hair. So we all have these dark curly, dark curls. So yeah, I don't know. It's genetics is such a complex thing. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
So, but maybe you never know.
You never know.
Watch, a year into drinking it, you're like, look at me now. Got all this
I've kind of got used to it now. It's nice. It's less maintenance,
Yeah. Well, you don't have to think about anything.
I know. I feel like a little
styling your hair.
Yeah. Did you want to touch on anything else, Camille, or do you want to? Oh, the connection's just gone a little bit funky again. Chat if you've got any questions. Now's the time to ask. Whether it be about and the holistic approach to health, to trauma, whatever. It looks like Camille's gone offline again. Maybe our phone's overheated. But yeah, if anyone has got any questions, are you going to read from that book? I read it at the start, but I can read it again for people that missed it. So, for those who don't know, this is a course in miracles. Me and Cecilia read this every day, and basically what it is, it's essentially a channeled book, and yeah, every page, every day, there's a new lesson, and there was a little bit of synchronicity prior to the podcast with Camille, with me and Water Mama, and it was lesson 76. And I just want to read out a couple of sentences. So the lesson is titled, I am under no laws but God's. Okay? And think of the freedom in the recognition that you are not bound by all the strange and twisted laws you have set up to save you. You really think you would starve unless you have stacks of green paper strips and piles of metal discs? You really think a small round pellet or some fluid pushed into your veins through a sharpened needle will ward off disease and death? You really think you are alone unless another body is with you? It is insanity that thinks these things. You call them laws and put them under different names in a long catalogue of rituals that have no use and serve no purpose. You think you must obey the laws of medicine, of economics, and of health. Protect the body and you will be saved. These are not laws but madness. The body is endangered by the mind that hurts itself. The body suffers just in order that the mind will fail to see it is the victim of itself. The body suffering is a mask the mind holds up to hide what really suffers. It would not understand it is its own enemy, that it attacks itself and wants to die. It is from this your laws would save the body. It is for this you think you are the body. There are no laws except the laws of God. And guys, this isn't, whatever you make of God, I just like to really just use the universe or the divine. And I personally think we're all here because of the mind in the first place. But I'm going to try and get Camille back on. If you can't come back on, feel free to ask me any questions. I'll leave Camille's Instagram page and any links she wants to use. I'll be putting that on the YouTube. So if you've missed this live, if you've just joined late, hey Tabs, I see you just joined not long ago. I'll put that all in the description.
God,
She's back.
I'm so sorry. What happened to you?
It just went off. Have you got anything else to share, Camille?
I turned my Bluetooth and my Wi-Fi, and I was like, maybe I'll just go on my data or whatnot. I don't know.
Oh, no worries.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. I just read the lesson 76 again to everyone that missed it, and I said, yeah, if anyone's got any questions, now's the time to ask. Unless you've got anything else you want to touch on.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Camille, where can people find you? What's the best place to find you?
Moonwater Mama 369.
Moonwater Mama
369.
Great.
369 universal code, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also have an art page too, which is A Galeria Camileo, which means the Chameleon Gallery.
Yes,
that's my art
artwork.
page. I am a painter, so I'm trying to grow that page. I haven't posted anything lately, but I will. So stay tuned.
So Tabs is saying, what book is that? I'll have to read it. It's called A Course in Miracles, and it's actually free. It's free online. It's a PDF online. Oh. And yeah, it's a really good book, man. If you want a kind of structure or in life or a little bit of guidance, it's a really nice reminder. A lesson a day.
That's beautiful. I love that. Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Oh,
I
there you
love
go.
any new books.
𝘎𝙤𝙢𝙤𝙢𝙤𝙤. Thanks, Cecilia.
I'm still reading the book that your wife recommended me. I'm still almost halfway through it. I am sucked in. It is so good.
Yeah,
It's
good.
so good.
Someone's asking, what is your blood type? I'm A positive, I believe.
I'm A.
Are you a vampire? Why do you want to know my blood type?
I'm A. I'm A as well. I think I'm A positive as well. Yeah. So A, no matter if you're positive or negative, you would want to be geared more towards plant-based. That's what I read from the research I've done. And it makes sense because my body reacts to eating high doses of meat or dairy. So depending on, obviously I don't eat pasteurized dairy. My weakness is cheese. I fucking love cheese.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm such a cheese head. The queen of cheese. Any cheese, give it to me. But most cheese is pasteurized. And so, but I don't go out to eat often.
Yeah.
So I'll usually buy raw cheese.
Do you drink whole milk?
Oh, you mean like I drink kefir? Is that how you say it? Kefir, kefir. Because here in Colorado, I would have to. I wish that they had raw milk. Because it has all the probiotics and the live bacteria that we need to balance our pH in our gut. Our gut health is everything. Because a lot of people don't know this, but 80% of your serotonin is made in your gut. So that's crucial. So healthy gut, healthy mind, healthy body, healthy life. Yeah. So anyways, yeah. So here in Colorado, they are a little annoying, and you have to invest in stock with a farmer to be able to get raw milk. So I just buy kefir is how you say it. The K. You know what I'm talking about? KEFIER or whatever. It's basically the closest thing. It's pretty much. It's like and it has like the probiotics in it. So that's what I put in my cacao every morning. So because I haven't, or goat's milk. If they're out, then I'll do goat's milk just to get my probiotics. There's so many benefits with goat's milk and goat's cheese. Did you know that is a substitute? Like if a woman isn't able to breastfeed their child, they can actually give their baby goat's milk. I'm like, I wish I would have known that. I wish I would have known that because I was at the mercy of having to give my child formula because I was going through a divorce. So naturally my body, I dried up. And so I wasn't able to breastfeed for very long. So yeah, but you don't know what you don't know.
Someone's asking, what does it mean for all positive peeps? I don't know if you know any dietary advice. All positive.
What was that?
What does that mean for all positive peeps?
Positive. I think you guys, if I'm not mistaken, you guys do well with more carnivoric and vegetables and whatnot. I would research it. If you guys know, ask Professor Google. If you know your blood type, which like if you don't go, if you have your doctor or your hospital or whatnot, I don't know if it would say it on your birth certificate or not. Maybe your long one if you were to get that. But and I would just do the research of there was a doctor that actually wrote a book that was titled 4 Blood Types, 4 Diets. So that's why me personally, I get annoyed when I see extremists that are just like, only be vegan, only be carnivoric, only be that. And it's like, or know your blood type. How about that?
Yeah.
How about just know your blood type and then stop trying to push a narrative onto, because not one size fits all. That's like saying that's like trying to feed an ostrich the same thing as you would feed a robin. Okay, they're both birds, but they're not the same thing. Like, you know,
Yeah.
and that's, and we're all different. We're supposed to be different. We're not supposed to be all the same thing and have the same diet and like we're robotic. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, but going back to origin and knowing your blood type, where you originated from too, your ancestry is
Yeah.
huge. So
Yeah.
I
So there you
have
go, Tab.
Mediterranean blood in me. So
Carnivore.
you know, we obviously ate more like fish and vegetables and fruits. My body thrives on fruits. I like immediately feel so much energetic when I eat like pineapple, kiwis, anything like island food, you know, island fruit. So yeah,
Cool.
that's me. So anyways, did anyone else have any questions? I know I
Think.
talk a lot.
No, Tab just asked for his blood type, so carnivore. Tabs, get yourself to KFC, buddy.
No, no. Just say no. No,
No,
I am so okay.
can't see any other.
Fast food needs to be shut down.
Right,
That's a
guys.
war on humanity.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, thanks for everyone for joining.
Yes,
we're going to end
thank
it
you
there.
to everybody.
Camille, if you stay on the line, I'll give you a quick call just to say thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
Offline.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for watching. And if you joined in late, it's going to be on YouTube, so you can watch the full thing there with all of Camille's links. And yeah, thanks so much. Thank you, Camille.
Thank you
thanks
so
for
much,
sharing your
everybody.
story.
Thanks for taking the time. Thank you. Love you guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Have a great day, everybody.